Look at that. Recorded just as I said it was. Remember, if you don't want to record it, let me know. Um, we're going to have more fun sight singing, and not sight singing, dictation and stuff. And stuff. Does anyone have any questions? Anything you want to have focused on? Anything you want to do before I go to my lesson plan? We're good to go. All right. So let's go look at finale for a second because there's something we've always started doing that we really should do a little bit of. I don't know that I'll put it on any exam unless I put it for extra credit, but it's a skill we should eventually get, which is to be able to recognize if chords are major or minor and what kind of seventh chords we have. Because if you're listening to a popular song or a contemporary song of some sort and you want to be able to record it or perform it or notate it, the easiest thing is to say, okay, that's a major chord, that's a minor chord, that's a seventh chord, and then you can figure out the chord sheet. And so it's a good skill to have. Not everyone uses it, not everyone has it, but it's a good skill to have. So what I did is I made kind of a chart here, and we're going to listen to it a little bit, provided I remembered to share the sound. I think I've now remembered to share the sound. Okay. So what I have first is just a simple major chord. I think we all could recognize a major chord. Let me play it. Let's play it again. Major chord. Nice, happy major chord. Now, major chords can have two kinds of sevenths. They can actually have any kind of seventh, but if you look at scales, you either get major chords with major sevenths, that's a major seventh because B to C is a half step, or a minor seventh, that's a minor seventh because B flat to C is a whole step. So there's a major seventh chord and a minor seventh chord. So let's listen to three of them together, the major chord, and then what happens, we add a major seventh, and what happens, we have a minor seventh. We're going to try and get this sound in our ears. We've practiced this once, but it was a long time ago. Here we go. All right, a major seventh and minor seventh. Yeah, it's hard to describe those sounds. I just find, I've said it before, that major seventh is very perfumey. And the minor seventh one, that's a dominant seventh chord. That seems very um, structured. It wants to go someplace. It seems more solid. And this one's sort of airy. Let's listen to the back to back again. A major chord with a major seventh, and then a major chord with a minor seventh. All right, then the second kind of chord we have, and let me put some blocks here to make sure that we don't give anything away, is the second kind of chord we have is the minor chord, and the minor chord sounds like this. I'm sorry. Very sort of dark, and I think we recognize the minor is different from the major, I think. Now in scales, all the minor chords in our scales have minor sevenths with them. They don't tend to have major sevenths, and frankly, it's a pretty harsh sound. So if we hear a minor chord and we hear a seventh, we can usually even guess it's a minor seventh. But let's hear what it sounds like. So here's our minor chord, and here's the minor chord with minor seventh. It's still got some of the darkness. Let's hear that again. Minor chord with minor seventh. Okay, do we have some sense of that? Do we have that in our ears? Has everyone got a thumbs up? Are we ready to see if we can hear it? Who's got questions? Who wants to hear it again? I'm facing silence.
Can I hear it,
Do I hear it again?
again? Yes, please.
Yeah, let's hear it again. I mean, it takes a long time to get these things in the ear. So we're going to hear the whole set. A major chord will sound like this. And we add a major seventh, we get this sound. But if we add a minor seventh, we get this sound. Then a minor chord sounds like this. It has a minor seventh. Let's do that one more time. I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to hear these a bit over and over. It's all practice, right? And what better time to practice than in lab? That's what lab is for. Major chord. Major chord, major seventh. Major chord, minor seventh. Minor chord. Minor chord, minor seventh. Okay, we could hear them again. We could talk about them, or we could see if we could actually recognize them. Which do you want to do?
I want to see if I can recognize them now.
All right. The gauntlet has been laid down. So I just have to change the settings on this thing, and which will take just a second. And let's see. So now we've got all these chords have sevenths. There's three kinds of chords. There's the major major, the major minor, and the minor minor. And that's what we're going to try to hear today. One of those three. So just let's see how well we do. Here's the first one. I'll play each one 3 times, give you a shot at it. Here's the first one. Second time. And a third time. All right, let's try the second chord. Again. And the third time. Third chord. Second time. And the third time. Fourth chord. Second time. And final time. Next chord. A second time. And the last time. And now the final chord. Another time. And the final time. All right, let's do the moment of truth. So here are the correct answers. I'll play them so you can hear them and speak about them too. So the first chord is a major chord with a minor seventh. So it's a major minor chord or dominant seventh chord. Sounds like this. Our second chord is a major major chord, and it sounds like this one. The third chord is minor minor. The fourth chord is major major. Then we have another minor minor. And then our last chord will be major minor. All righty. Anyone want to hear any of those again or see any of those again? If not, send me something in chat. If so, you can send me that in chat. And I wait patiently while you learn to type. Huh. That's interesting. My feeling is that if you mix up two of them, your ear hears the difference, and now it's just a matter of putting the right name on everything. So that's actually not a bad sign. We'd rather not mix things up, but if we mix things up consistently, it means that we actually are hearing them as different, and we're just pinning the wrong names. Yeah. Um, good. Okay. So good. That's good. Wait for one more response. Let's see if we get one more response. And this is tricky. This is hard, and we're just beginning it. But if you get any progress on it, that means that you're getting very close to getting to the point where you can take stuff off recordings off of MP3 players and stuff, and that's really cool. Yeah, and so yeah, needing some more practice is a perfectly legitimate answer because we haven't practiced this, and practice is everything. But that's not bad, guys. That's not bad. Okay, it's a start, and we'll do a little bit more of that. Um, but that's an ongoing, lifelong challenge. You'll get to the point where you're good at it if it's something you need. Let's do some two-part dictation. Now, if you remember last time, we did it with piano, and we couldn't separate them except by putting them far apart, and that made it a lot harder. But you guys did surprisingly well, so I've decided to try that again. So we've got a minor, and remember, minor means there might be some accidentals, particularly the things you'll hear at the 7th and 6th degree of the scales. That's where the accidentals tend to be. So we're going to play this thing. We're going to play 4 times for each voice, so a total of 8 times around. And the key is D minor. And after you figure out that D minor is the same key signature as F major, because you go up a minor third, So same key signature is F major, and then F major is 1 flat because we have to memorize it. You know you put a key signature of 1 flat in. Once you've done that, it's 4/4 time, and it's 4 measures long. So you might want to put a little grid in there. Once you've got your grid on, I will tell you that the soprano starts on the D near the top of the staff, second to top line of the staff, and it's a quarter note. The bass also starts on a D, middle line of the bass clef staff. It's also a quarter note. So you got quarter note Ds in both voices, 4/4 time, 4 measures. And remember, if we go below the tonic, we go from 8 to 7 to 6, 8, 7, 6. Those are the ones we're looking at. They're the most common accidentals in minor. They may not be the only ones, but they happen to be in this case. Those are what you're looking for. Are you melodic minor, harmonic minor? Are you going up or down? Use both your ears and your incredibly deep knowledge of music theory. All right, here's the first time around. Ready? Go. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it again. And again, the help is the first note's tonic. See if you can hear it every time it comes in. That can be very useful. Third time around. One more time for the soprano. All right, let's see if we can get the bass. So the bass is also starting on a D. And some of the things that help is, like we were trying to do, find the Ds all the way through, but also see what the interval at the very end is. because that interval will tell you what your ending note is, and that's very useful. If you have passwords that are moving in parallel motion, if you can hear the interval or at least hear what it's not, that might be helpful. So we want to listen to the bass part, but occasionally we want to listen to it not by itself, but in relation to the soprano. So two ways of hearing at once. A little tricky, first time through. Second time. Third time. And let's do one more. Let's do the reveal. This is the correct answer. Take a look at it, and then I'll talk through how to hear it. And then I'll play it again and we'll chat about it. Okay? So check your answers. Okay, so let me ask this question first. Throw this in the chat, everyone. What kind of minor scale is this? Is it natural, harmonic, or melodic? Now, let me say you can argue two correct answers, although I think there is only one. Is it melodic, harmonic, or natural minor? I have one answer. If you're guessing, you have a 1 in 3 chance of being right. So at least put in some answer. Okay, I've got two answers in, waiting for a third. The third is not yet forthcoming, so I will tell you what I think. First of all, it can't be natural, right? Because natural minor has no accidentals. We see C sharp and C sharp, the seventh degree raised. So that would imply it's not natural. Now, why I said there were two answers is that it's not impossible to conceive of this as harmonic because you have C sharp but B flat, right? I don't think it is harmonic, but I could see why you'd make that case. And let me explain why I don't think it is. I think it's melodic. So because there's only the one B, so it doesn't give us much help. But here's what happens in melodic minor. It's in melodic minor, you would be B natural C sharp going up and C natural B flat going down. Well, going up, C sharp to D, C sharp to D. The only times we go up there are no B's, so we don't know if it's a B natural. But when we go down, D to C natural to B flat to A, that right there looks to me like we got to be in melodic minor. It's natural going down, it's sharp when we go back up. So I think that this is melodic minor, but if you thought it was harmonic minor, you can make a good case because there are sharps in there. So how do we hear this? Well, the first thing is we know we're starting on tonic, and that's we just have to hear the half step there. It's a leading tone as opposed to that leading tone is so natural to us that we just don't even recognize it. That's a leading tone, half step to tonic. So that tells you C sharp. Now we know where our D is, so we know what that passage is. Get a little jump up, we come right back to the D. If you listen carefully, you can hear that this note and this note are not the same note. And that immediately implies this is going to be a natural. And so we go natural, and then this, we've got to end on the note we started. First of all, we can hear that if we hear tonic all the way through. And then what's this? This is 5-1. That's just your regular motion. So even though that skips a little bit weird, 5-1 is not unusual. In the bass, we just start with a scale. We come back to the third, but back up to the scale. Now, this is a weird leap. But if we hear where tonic is, tonic, 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 we know that's just one step above tonic. And then we have the leading tone again. So we can hear that half step. We can also hear, because that chord there is going to sound majorish. It's going to sound like it's got to resolve. So this is your A major chord, so that's got to be a C sharp. It doesn't sound minor. That wouldn't take us 5-1. So our theory knowledge says, well, we expect the third to be raised there. So we put together our knowledge. And by the way, it ends on an octave. So if you have trouble finding notes, if you get the D here, you know that you have a D in the bass. So we want to be able to hear that ending interval. And we've got 4 beats to figure it out. So we put all that together and we get this thing. Let's listen to it now that we've heard the explanation and see if you can actually detect why that's a C sharp versus a C natural, or how we're ending on this final note, those kinds of things. Anything you miss, see if you can find it. Let me play it one more time so you have a real chance to find all of those notes. Chat time. Chat time. Ah. Huh. Okay. I only have one response so far, guys. So let's see how good we are typing. There we go. Okay. Oh, just asking how you did, Sophie. That's all. Sophie's computer froze. Poor thing. Mine's been froze all day yesterday. So annoying. Okay. So some of us did okay, but most of us struggled with that. So what I'm going to do, hopefully by the end of today, I'll create another one that I'm going to put into instruments. and get us used to hearing that bass by using different timbre and different volume. Because some people are having trouble hearing the bass part, and and let's face it, um, there are days our ears just aren't working well, and this one was hard. This I don't know why it was hard, but it was hard. And we're just beginning to play with accidentals now, and that's always makes things hard. But I want to do one rhythm one first, and then I'll see if we have time, and I'll create another two-part. If we don't have time, I'll make sure to do it Tuesday, but I think we'll have time. So let's get ready for a rhythm. And this rhythm's in 9/8. So it's the same as 6/8, right? It's got dotted quarter gets a beat, 3/8 notes in a beat. But instead of being two beats, it's three beats. So it's like doing a 3/4, but it's 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 instead of just 1 and 2. So it's a 9/8 time, three dotted quarters in a measure. Let me stop the share so I can tell you how many measures are going to be in it without you seeing. 1 second. It's going to be, come on, you. It's going to be 4 measures long. Plus, I'll give you a measure of beats for nothing. And we'll play it at least 4 times. It's 4 measures long. Remember, the basic rhythms are 1 2 3 1 2. Those are eighth notes. Or 1 1 1. Those are dotted quarters. Or da 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 da. That's a quarter and an eighth. Long, short, long. And we've added a new rhythm, which is dot 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 dum, which is eighth, 2/16 and eighths. Dot 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 dum. It's just a variation of 1 2 3 1, but it's 1 2 and 3 1. Dot 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 dum. That's an eighth, 2/16 and an eighth. If we remember those patterns, there's nothing new. But 6/8's a little hard to hear. So I'll play it 3 or 4 times or something because it's a long one, and let's see how we do. All right. I think we're set up properly. The first measure is just to set the tempo so you hear the beat. Here we go, first time around. All right, let's try it again. Remember, if you can do a shorthand for each of the beat units, you can write down the shorthand and fill in the notes later. So try and think in terms of large units. And also remember 3 beats in a measure, so figure out where your bar lines go. All right, and then check to make sure you have the right number of beats in a measure. That's how you catch mistakes. Second time. Let's do a third time. Let's do it one last time. And here's the reveal. So here's our rhythm here. If you look at it in groups, this is the short, a long, short. That's that pattern. We do it twice. And then it's just 3/8 notes. Then it's just long, short, and 3/8 notes again. So basically, the first two measures just have those two patterns in it. Long, short, long, short. Now, the new pattern, dum, digga dum, appears, and then our 3/8 again, and then another long, short. And then we just have three beats. So, in terms of groupings, we can see each of these groupings makes sense, but that doesn't mean we pick it up. So let's listen to it now as we watch it and see what it looks like. Chat time! Chat time! Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Give me some hints. Oh, good. Good. I'm missing one more comment. Okay, I'll live with the comments we've got. So I'm hoping it's improving. Some of you are doing really well. Some are still, needs a little practice on it, which is all good. That's fine. We like having to practice. So I'm going to quickly compose another two part. I'm going to do this one in major so there'll be no accidentals, just to get, sometimes you have to go back a step to realize how good you are. So when we start stretching again, no one gets depressed. So let me just turn off so you can't hear anything. I'll mute my sound. Um, 1 second, and I'll just quickly write out a new musical example. Okay, let's see. Let's just do C major. All right, I have no idea what this sounds like, but let's give it a shot. Okay, so this is in C major, and we're going to play it with its oboe and bassoon, and I'm going to push the soprano a little bit. The rhythms are tricky. That's new, but but because it's in major and so on, I didn't put any accidentals in. So that will make it a little easier to hear. Let's see if we can do a two-part when the instruments are separated. Are you ready, guys? So it's in 4/4 time, and it's 4 measures long. So set up the grid. The opening rhythm is tricky, so I'm going to give you a measure for nothing, a measure of beats. So that will help, I hope. Let me see. All right, so the first note in the soprano is a C, the second from the top space of the treble clef. The first note in the bass is an E second from the top space of the bass clef. And I will warn you that neither the bass or the soprano starts on a quarter note. Neither one starts on a quarter note. So you'll get a beat, 4 beats for nothing, and then it will begin. I'll let you play each one as many times as I can with the time remaining. All right, here we go. My audio units aren't playing right, and I don't know why. That should fix it, and let me put a slow tempo on it. Okay, let's try this again. And let's see why it's not playing. Still not playing. Mysterious. Huh. You guys can't hear it, right?
No.
Okay, let's find out if I have to reset some preferences in the in the computer. Hold on a second. I'm capable of doing these things. Okay, let's go back to there, and then okay, this should now work. I've pushed every button I can. Let's see if it works. Here we go, guys. Start here. Let's try that soprano again. Let's do one more time on the soprano. All right, let's try this again. Now, this time I'm pushing the bass a little bit louder, and this is where we want to practice. People are having more trouble with the bass than the treble, but with the bassoon and pushed a little bit, I hope it's a little easier. I'm going to play at least 4 times, depends how much time we have left in the class, but give you a real chance to focus on the bass. Let's try it. Starts on an E. again. Let's play the third time. And time's pressing, so I'm going to play it one more time and then reveal. Here we go. And I know you're probably still working, but take a look at it because we have only 1 minute left, and I want to tell you how to hear some things. So this is the correct answer. So take a moment to check it. So the top part, the only tricky thing is this opening rhythm, 1, 2, and 3. And we should be able to get that rhythm by now, but it doesn't mean we did. But you can hear that that's a downbeat. So you kind of have to fill in this measure and make the number of beats work out because you can hear that those things are on the beat if we listen carefully. This rhythm's also tricky. And the way I hear that one is I hear that these two notes are together. So wherever I put this note, if that's on the fourth beat, this has to be on the fourth beat, and that makes that thing 2 beats long. So you can write as a half note or as 2 quarters tied. 2 quarters in the middle of a measure is the correct notation, but a half note works just as well. So that's the 2 rhythm problems. Now, and that rhythm's a little tricky. Once we get past the rhythm, this fourth is really hard to hear. The thing about bass lines is they have these leaps in them that are really hard to hear. But if you thought it was a third, then you'd have a D against an E, and then a C against a D, and you can listen to that and hear that that's not ninths. That'd be kind of harsh on the ear. Or if you thought it went by a step, you'd have an F against an E. So the C is the only thing that really makes sense. So if you can't hear if that's a fourth or a third or what kind of leap it is, you can look here at the top. And then this is just 5-1 when key of C major. So once again, if we don't know exactly what the notes are, we end on an octave. 5-1, circle progression, leading tone going up. That's just kind of sort of a standard thing. So we can use our intellect to find the ending and then work backwards. So tricky rhythm there, but we can line up here and hear where the downbeats are. Tricky skip here, but then we can use the ending octave and the tonic to help us find our way through that as well. Okay, we're 1 minute over already, but guys, at least throw me something on the chat. Was that easier, harder? Did having the notes help? The sound effects help? Go ahead. Let me see. Yeah, a half note is the same as 2 quarters tied, so it's still correct. Yeah, better. Okay, yeah. Hearing it on 2 pianos without being able to split it, the timbres are so close, it's hard. We'll practice that maybe, but I'll try and keep them on different timbres. Okay, yeah, easier than the first one. It was better. And by the way, if you put that tie as a half note, that's the same rhythm. It's just as a notation thing in the middle, we prefer to use the tie, but it's only a preference. Half note is correct, but those rhythms were tricky. Guys, I'm sorry to keep you late, but thank you for your patience. Tomorrow, we start review for the final. And when we're done with that, it's time for a long weekend. Hip, hip, hooray. I'll see you all tomorrow. I always look forward to it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Professor, I have a quick question.
Of course.
So I know I talked to you briefly about doing in-progress grades.
Yes.
Do you want me to just email you about that so we can set that up?
Yeah, let me email it to me. I can't put it in till last week, but what it'll mean is that you won't have to take the final now, and we'll figure out how to get you caught up. But send me an email just so I have a written record of it, and it's just not a problem. And
Awesome.
even if I forgot and put in a grade, just call me and I change the grade to an IP. So
Sure.
we'll do it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great. And if you need some help getting things learned and ready, look at those videos and then call me. Okay. I'm
Okay.
happy to give you some time. Whatever.
Okay. I think I could probably take the um, the lab portion of the exam, and then
Okay.
that's done. Um, and then I can just focus on the homework.
Excellent. So let's do that. And with the homework, use the homework not so much for grading as for practicing. If you get
Okay.
something you really understand it, just skip it, send me a note. I understand this. Because if I know that you looked at it, I'm happy. Spend your time with the stuff you don't know and practice the stuff that's hard for you. Okay.
Okay. Awesome.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Sophie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.